Bawku issue came in because, you know, our hotspot now is the jihadis in the region, the jihadis across the border, and also the Bawku problems. So those are the things that we discuss. Of course, there are security matters, and I can't tell you what we discussed. It's very sad that people have lost their lives. It's something that RESEC, we want to know what really happened. And we are going to. I also want to say that this troubles in Bawku is taking too long. We have been doing our best to make sure that there is peace in Bawku. The Interior Minister, the Minister for Defense, CDS, and all the big people, IGP, they're all here for us to see if we can prepare peace. And I think it lasted for a bit, and then it started all over again. If you sit down and you think about it, you really don't know the reason why it is getting this way. And I think that probably there are also criminality in it. There's politics in it, criminality in it. People have their own reasons why they probably don't want this to end. So I want to appeal through this medium that, look, let's give peace a chance, because Bawku is virtually.
Right, so let's begin by going to the phone lines and to speak with the MP for the area, Mahama Yarga, who has filed a petition at Shraj. As you may have followed in the course of the week, the military high command issued a statement admitting to neutralizing, that's the word they use, neutralizing 6 men. Then they give accounts of various things that have occurred whilst they are doing their operations in the area. Bawku is becoming a ghost town. Important installation, businesses, banks, snates, all of them, they have moved away from that place. They are now situated in the Bogatanga, and it's a long journey for pensioners, for example, to move from Bawku to Boga, and the road is terrible, terrible. Now, Mahama Yarga has a different account on how the people were killed. He names all the 10 of them. For example, one of them, Indego Mumuni, he says he's a 39-year-old man, and he's married. He's got 1 wife, he's got 5 children. His father is deceased, his mother is deceased, and this is how he died. That he died of gunshot wounds inflicted by the military. And where did it happen? He was in his garden, watering his garden plants, and they killed him. Another one, Smaila Jafaru, also is said to have been burned in a room full of hay where he had taken refuge. The incident occurred in his house. The deceased mother resisted, and that is how they shot her in the hand. So his father has also been killed by the military, and his mother sustained wounds in her left hand from the gunshots of the military and is receiving medical treatment. I go through the story as in the different accounts from the Member of Parliament, and you find a very disturbing story different from what the military is saying. There is this Abumbaina Madi, 33, has 3 wives, 6 children. Okay, his parents are alive. He's a motorcycle mechanic. He died of gunshot wounds by the military. The military men wearing military uniforms were seen chasing him on foot, while some were in an armored vehicle chasing and shooting at him. There are a couple others who are said to have been killed in this same style. Thank you for joining us this morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
How come your account is different from what the military, the officials that we are supposed to hear from, their accounts?
Well, I mean, let's start by expressing our condolences to the families of the bereaved, and to let them know that we are with them in these very difficult times. I don't expect the military to admit that they did the things that they did. I mean, they find a nice way of capturing it, that they were liquidating people. I'm not sure that is the job of members of the Ghana Armed Forces, given the level of training that they have received. I don't see in their media statement that the people they so-called liquidated were firing guns and that they retrieved, these ammunitions from them after the so-called liquidation exercise.
That is instructive. That is instructive. That they do not talk about retrieving any ammunition, but exactly. they said they were shot at. They spoke about one guy who approached them with a cutlass and also needed to be neutralized. And Bawku is known to have residents, almost all of whom keep guns.
Well, not almost all, but let me just say that they haven't given evidence that, they retrieved any weapons. As for a cutlass, I mean, do you shoot and kill somebody for brandishing a cutlass? Which I dispute. So the point is this: what I've put out there are eyewitness accounts of exactly what happened. I have the names of the eyewitnesses. I have their contacts. The communities, I've instructed them, they've gathered the witnesses, they have the names, the contacts, everything. And trust me, I insist that the Commission on Human Rights and Absolute Justice should go and investigate and establish exactly what happened. You will see that what I have put out there.
So you are going to be inviting these witnesses to corroborate as eyewitnesses.
When the investigators of STRIDE go to those communities, they will meet those witnesses, and then they will tell them exactly what they saw. They will see the location. See, the locations are significant. Anybody who is familiar with the conflict in Bawku knows that if you told me that, you shot and neutralized somebody at a particular location, I will not be in a hurry to go public in condemning you, because I know that those locations are hotspots, and very often they are the venues of intense exchanges between the two feuding sides. So I will do some more, research. But where these things happen, I mean, I can assure you that anybody who knows Bawku knows that they are so far away from the centers of action that when you chase people to that location, you don't need to neutralize them, as they put it. And so these are just clear, brutal killings.
Right. So Honorable, I will come to the question of whether this should be a STRIDE investigation or we need, a constitutional committee or commission to go into this. These are 10 lives, 10 lives involved. But, for example, there are a number of them, including Imoro Salifu, that your eyewitnesses tell you that he was shot by the soldiers in front of his house at about 8 p.m. on January 26. Now, why will the military invade someone's house and shoot them without any provocation?
Yeah, I mean...
Or any cause, not provocation.
These things have been happening. If you notice, 8 p.m. Or after 8 p.m., would have been curfew hours in Bawku. So they will tell you, the person was outside during curfew hours. Look at the age of the man. I mean, somebody at age 60 will hardly be out there fighting. If you had shot a 30-year-old man and said, oh, you know, he was out there fighting at 8 p.m., but a 60-year-old man would not be holding a gun, would not be out there fighting. A 59-year-old man, most unlikely to be out there fighting, even if you saw him during curfew. I mean, your job as a paid professional military officer is not to kill at first instance. I mean, you could arrest him. You could inflict some, you know, pain, slaps here and there, threaten him, get him to go into his house. But how does he end up being killed simply because he was outside during curfew hours? And it just didn't start with those two people. About a month ago, a woman was equally killed in Sabongari, you know, simply because she was out during curfew hours. And so I have restrained myself when it comes to those matters, because I think
isn't it difficult for yourself to believe those stories so easily that someone for a curfew offense is shot and killed?
No, it happened. Just go to Sabongari and ask. This lady, a woman, she was shot and killed during curfew hours. And when I did my investigation, I found out that she cooks and sells food during the day. And so sometimes she has to prepare the food late into the night. And because of curfew hours, she passes somewhere and then commutes back home, tries to meander through the houses and get home. And then early in the morning, she wakes up and now sells what she cooked over the night.
Yeah, so that's...
And so she became a victim of just military having noticed her out there during curfew hours.
So that's my question. If you breach curfew hours, you are not a candidate for death. You are not to be killed.
Exactly.
And these are professional military and police officers. Why would they shoot and kill because you have breached a curfew?
Exactly. And so it is this level of brutality that we are talking about. And that is why I'm saying that we need to investigate it. And you asked me whether it should be a commission. I mean, what have we gotten out of all these commissions that were set up by the president in the past to investigate killings? What happened? Nothing happened.
At least that signifies that signifies the enormity of the problem.
I don't think so. I want the truth out. I don't want some high-level exercise that will come to nothing. I believe the Human Rights Commission will do a very good job of establishing exactly what happened. And then they will take action to ensure that there are remedial measures. I don't want it political. I don't want the president's hand in it, so that at the end of the day, you know, we turn around and then say, oh, it was political and this and that. This is a case of human rights violation. And under our constitution, the proper body to ascertain exactly what happened, given proper investigative powers. The same powers that a commission of inquiry would have anyway.
You are asking the SRAJ to make a finding of fact and simply make compensations to the relatives, surviving relatives of these people. But if this is found to be what it is, it's not a mere case of human rights violations. Those engaged would then have been deemed to have committed murder, and murder is prosecuted, and the sentence for it is that you are supposed to be hanged, even though you may go to jail for life.
However, and I just want to make sure that the rights of my constituents are respected. If in the process the state decides after the commission has established the fact that it will prosecute them, so be it. Then it will deter people from needlessly taking the lives of innocent people in the name of trying to restore peace in Bawku.
Once again, what is it that doesn't make you want to believe the military's account one bit?
Because citizens of Bawku that I know will not lie to me, told me exactly what they saw, and they are ready to come forward before any institution and give eyewitness accounts of what they saw.
But these are the same citizens. These are the same citizens that we know have been killing each other and have been hoarding weapons for that purpose?
Well, the fact that somebody has held a weapon, has fought, doesn't mean that the person is incapable of speaking the truth about what they have seen. Like I told you, the military themselves, in their report, did not say that when we neutralize Mr. X, we retrieve AK-47. When we neutralize Mr. Y, we retrieve a G3.
That's obviously curious.
The only time that they talk about the weapon is a cutlass. So you confront a man who is wielding a weapon, a cutlass, with an armor car, and then, several soldiers, and you shoot and kill? How can you do that? How can Ghana be reduced to that?
And the reliefs you are seeking, very finally, is that what the lives of these people, are worth? 500,000 Ghana cedis each?
Well, I want the state to pay. The Human Rights Commissioner can have a different mechanism for determining what values we place on these lands. But I think that some compensation must go. Look, if you look at the people, somebody has been killed, he survived by 3 wives. Somebody has been killed, he survived by 2 wives. Somebody has been killed, he survived by 1 wife.
Exactly my point, Mr. Mahama Yarga. Exactly my point.
He has 7 children.
Exactly my point.
And we need to maintain these people. so that is why I say that they must be compensated, so that those of us who have who have to take care of these families, we have the wherewithal to take care of what they have left behind.
I am familiar with a case where a man had a crane fall on him. He's not dead. He's just been disabled. And his compensation is $1 million. People have lost their lives. They have dependents. And you say their lives, is worth compensating 500,000?
Well, we can say 2 million. We can say 3 million. At the end of the day, the Human Rights Commissioner will determine exactly what kind of compensation he thinks is appropriate.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Let me quickly try getting some brief updates from our correspondent, Albert. Sorry. Albert, thank you for joining us. Hello, Albert.
Hello, Samson.
Yes. I haven't been on that Bawku road for a very long time. The last time I did, I just stopped somewhere at Lamting, Apangas area. I saw that you have been there and you were soaked in dust. So people must come to Bolga for their basic banking needs and the rest of them because of the situation in Bawku. Is that what is going on?
Okay, so let's start with the road. The road has now been constructed. The picture of me you saw covered in that is a Facebook memory from 2014.
Oh, great.
Great. Hello?
Great, go ahead.
Yes, so the road has been done up to the Bawku township now, and it is very motorable. About 3 months ago, we did a story on the update of the road. So it's just around 70% complete, with the exception of culverts and other road markings that have to be done, and then the Bawku township roads themselves, which have to be constructed. But about banking, yes, there are some banks in Bawku which we had sometime last year had closed temporarily, and people who were doing business with that bank have to be traveling to Bolga to be able to get banking services. There are some businesses, for instance, Senate had also threatened to move their office from Bawku because their office was in the middle of town, and often their staff were getting caught in the middle of exchange of fire. The Presbyterian Hospital in Bawku is also one. They haven't closed down, but the moderator for the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, when he visited Bolga to commission a psychiatric hospital, did tell us journalists that one of the things they may have to consider is to close down the hospital if the incessant gunshots and all that continue to go on. So life is not business as usual for most of the people of Bawku. There are teachers who cannot go to work. There are nurses who cannot go to work.
Right.
And so, yes,
right.
that's the situation.
Now, for example, Mahama Yarge's account in his petition to Shraj, completely different from what the military tell us in their statement that they also issued, was it on Thursday or yes. Now, for example, he talks about people who were shot in front of their homes. The news editors here at Joy News give me information about seeing photographs of the bodies being together, as if people have been killed together, and not the case where Mahama Yarge's narration shows people who have been killed at separate places. What can you say about that?
Samson, so the pictures that we had, which you say the editors talked to you about, are pictures we covered at a press conference on Wednesday after the incident happened. We want to believe that the bodies were actually brought together because the people had been preparing to bring the media in for the press conference. So by the time we got there, the bodies were already together when we took those pictures. Now, from the accounts that they also gave us, what they said was that they were all at different locations doing their normal morning activities when the soldiers came into the community. Some of them were chased after and brought under a mango tree and shot. This was
in fact, there's a story of one man who was supposed to be on top of the mango tree and seeking to pluck mango or whatever it was, and then he was shot.
Yes, the stories are different from different people because this doesn't just happen in one household. So that is why the accounts appear to be different, because we interviewed different people and they tell us different accounts of what they saw. But when we took the pictures, the bodies were already together. Now, the traditional authorities, together with the families of the people who were killed and the top security hierarchy, met that afternoon, and they had a discussion and they agreed that the bodies should be released to the families for burial according to Islamic principles.
Okay.
Now, the next day, the statement from the armed forces also came, and the Regional Coordinating Council, the Regional Security Council met that afternoon, and the decision they took was that now they have two accounts, different accounts of what exactly happened, and they will have to go on the ground to do their own investigation to ascertain exactly what happened.
All right, tell me in a minute, what's the atmosphere? How do the people feel about what is going on in their area, and on the back of the statement by the military high command as well?
So on the first day, the families of the people who were killed were very angry. You could tell when they addressed that press conference. A lot of them were not happy about what had happened. But subsequently, when they met with the security hierarchy together with the traditional authority and the RegSec statement subsequently coming, it appears that it has calmed them a little bit. But they continue to insist that they want justice because this is not something that should be swept under the carpet. And so when you speak to them, they continue to insist that they are waiting to hear what the Regional Security Council will do and what other human rights bodies who are watching what is happening in Bawku are going to do about the situation. So yes, things are calm at the moment, but you get the sense that the people are not going to just let this go.
All right, Albert Sorry, thank you very much. Albert Sorry is Joy News correspondent in the Upper East region, and I'm getting some pictures and even videos, even as I talk to you. Some people there are sending, I don't even want to look at them. So obviously, there will be some body of evidence for the purposes of Shraj. Sorry, but we didn't intend to have you guys on this issue, but briefly, What do you say about the conflicting accounts?
Yeah, it's worrying, to say the least. You see?
Sorry, Martin Pebu is a lawyer and rights activist. Also, with him here in the studio is Alhassan S. Suhini. He's a member of parliament and also on the appointments committee of parliament. We will be joined by Kofi Bentel, who is lawyer and senior vice president, Imani Africa. I suppose he's already on. And as I said, Alhassan S. Suhini is MP Tamale North, deputy ranking lands and forestry and member appointments committee. Martin Pebu is lawyer and rights activist. And as you know, he is one of the couple of rebels for the Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana. He's the reason we have got some people facing, who have been dismissed from the NDA, National Development and Northern Development Authority. Some have been dismissed and some are facing courts. We'll come to those issues when we get to the Corruption Perception Index.
That's why we must quickly...
People are worried why the chief executive himself, the deputies have been dismissed, but the chief executive, who is also indicted and also facing charges, has not been dismissed or suspended at least. So what do you say about the Bawku situation?
Yeah. So it's worrying, and I know worrying is not strong enough. I mean, my heart bleeds. You know, when I was coming, I heard you reading how the various accounts and all that. I was like, no, why are we playing with people's lives? I mean, they've lost it. And so when I say playing, after even death, we have the temerity to, you know, give different accounts. I just hope that what you're saying, maybe the people were honest, but they were just mistaken. Because we can't do this. It should just be one plain truth. You see, and as you were recounting those deaths, then my mind came to the people who died in Techima, the Techima constituency, those who were killed there, the shooting by the soldiers, right? And then also the other parts of the country. You know, in the last election, we lost about 8 of our citizens. Yeah. We can't continue doing this.
Actually, there's a member of parliament, deputy speaker, who said, what is it? They deserve to die.
Such, I don't know, barbarity.
He's still in parliament. You'll be voted back into parliament.
Yes, that's barbarity. How can
I don't remember the last time he was made and forced to apologize for that, you know, very reckless and heartless comment.
Yes, so it tells you that our ethics have been thrown to the dogs. That's how come here. Because elsewhere he would have resigned. Yeah, and I remember that statement now. We made noise about it and that was it. Elsewhere he would have resigned. So it just tells you that our democracy is just sunk to the lowest. And so though we'll still come back to the Northern Development Authority, quickly, one sentence on it. The fact that the president is watching the chief executive still in office is also another sign. And the fact that Clara Napaga-Tia Suleimana approved, the coordinator of the special initiatives at the office of the president, approved the transaction, and she is still in office, tells you that that's the state of our democracy. It's low.
The OSP didn't indict her.
But we
those who are indicted are those. So let me not get a diversion. Now, the military said, among other things, quote, information received from the National Investigation Bureau by the Operation Gong team of the Ghana Armed Forces early this week indicates that passengers on board a yellow Kia Grand Bird bus with registration number so traveling from Accra to Mesiga were attacked by unknown gunmen around Pawolega and on the Bawku highways. The gunmen fired through the tire and engine compartment of the vehicle. The bus is currently parked at Asylum Down, Bawku Divisional Police Station for investigations to be conducted. Then they talk about another vehicle, Kia truck with registration, was hit, and the driver of the truck, Al-Hassan Abdallah, age 40, from the Gonja tribe, sustained a gunshot wound on the left foot. He is currently receiving treatment at the Presbyterian Hospital. Then they say again, February 1st, Wednesday, February 1, 2023, gunshots were heard around South Natinga in Bawku. A patrol team rushed to the general area of the shooting, where a suspect, Abdul Malik Haruna, age 35, from the Mamprusi tribe was arrested. He has since been handed over to the Bawku police for further investigation. Here's my question. 3 separate incidents they narrate to us. How do you connect them to the killing of these 10? That they said they neutralized. We're talking about people who have been shot and killed. And the military statement is telling us about a Kia a vehicle here and there and armed robbery. Well, how is it connected?
I don't get it. So the best I can make of it is that it means that the military can't be trusted at this stage. Yes, I'll go for it. And you see, it's based on previous incidents. As I said, the Techiman constituency one. We saw the videos, the military shooting, and till date, they've not owned up and accepted responsibility for it. Then you go back into our history. We all know, even till date, military, yes, thank you, Asawase, right? Then you see those people died. And
Asawase is where the police officers lied that the guns, the ammunition were from those people that they had killed or they had engaged. And it was found out that those were actually their own, that they only paraded to show that they retrieved them from the people, and it was not theirs.
Thank you.
Well, they got some 100,000 plus or so as compensation, 250,000.
50,000, which is bad. Yeah, so based upon this and our past history, and also even currently as we speak, the military are still used for some of these dirty operations. Yeah, you go and see the top hierarchy, the top brass, and they can go, even lands. Recently, in the course of this week, you see Trasaco and the military and all that. Yeah, they are lands. You see military on there trying to protect. So we've been using military for all manner of things. So based on their history, I won't go with them. No.
What will you say briefly about what is going on what must happen?
Yeah, good morning.
Shraj, is it enough?
Samson, good morning, Martin. Good morning to our viewers. Bawku is a very tricky subject to discuss, and I don't say that lightly, especially when you consider some of the causes. It is attributed sometimes to political intervention, dating back to the 50s, through to the 60s, and then through to the 80s, the PNDC era. I mean, you will know about the Restoration of Chiefs Act of 1959. So political activists somehow, some way, have been blamed for their involvement in the Bawku, case. And so it is a difficult subject for somebody like me to talk about. And I have had my fair share of being misunderstood or misinterpreted or taken out of context after I ran commentary on Bawku. In March of last year, on the floor of Parliament, Samson, I made this observation about the brutalities that were reported, especially perpetuated by the military. And just looking through the Hansard, I'll quote what I said on the floor of Parliament when I made the point that the activities of the military, per my information, was turning them into a security threat. So those who were supposed to provide security, according to the information I was getting, was rather becoming a security threat themselves. And I'll just share with you a sentence in the contribution that I made on the floor of Parliament to illustrate the point that you make about the need for investigation into the different sides that we are being told, the MP side and the military side. Quote, "These soldiers go into homes and search, and when they find even a machete, they begin to harass the residents and make them pay money in some instances," unquote. This was according...
Machete in farming community?
That's the point that I'm coming to. A machete, Bawku is predominantly a farming community. The information I got at the time was that even when they enter a home and they find a machete, they harass the people not until they pay money. They beat them, and in some cases, they have to pay money. And so I am not surprised that in this current narration, you are told that a man was shot dead because they found a machete on him.
No,
so,
I think they didn't just find the machete.
Yeah,
by their report.
By their report, he attempted to attack them with a machete.
Right.
But that's by their report. Yeah. But I'm saying that if you relate it to the information that was I was having at the time, there is some need for proper investigations to be carried out. In fact, after I made this contribution, the other side that got to me was that, look, the military were doing what will rather, stop people in some of these communities from misbehaving, because according to the other narration, the people in these communities are fond of shooting and they have guns, and so the military is trying to put the fear of God in them by invading their homes and ensuring that their presence is felt. So it requires some thorough investigation.
Last word to you, Kofi Bento. Hearing from what you have heard, 10 people killed, military have issued a statement. That's it, end of story. Should the president be heard? Should the defense minister, interior minister? What should be happening in Bawku as we speak?
Good morning, Samson.
Morning.
So all of us citizens should be very worried, and I say very worried because if people lose their lives in a state which has a government, has security agencies, and nothing serious seems to be done about it consistently, you would have a situation where people will give up and then they will seek to defend themselves. Bawku, like Soini said, I agree, is very tricky. But why it is a serious problem is that we are getting to the point where I can imagine that there will be people living in Bawku who do not feel Ghanaian. And they do not feel that the army is on their side. They do not feel that the government protects them. They do not feel that the security services are there for their sake. And God forbid, but if too many people in Bawku get that mindset, I don't think the people in Bawku are cowards or they are afraid of war per se. So for me, what has to happen is that we need to have the whole state security system take Bawku seriously because they are citizens of Ghana, and then do everything to make sure these lives are not lost in vain. Because if we don't do that, we will send a signal that it doesn't matter when some people lose their lives. And when we send those signals, we are preparing ourselves for an explosion we can't contain.
Do you know what has happened to the 8 people who were killed in the elections?
Manifest in the south.
Do you know what has happened in the matter of the 8 people who were killed in the elections?
I don't want to go too far. I would have gone all the way into what happened in Parliament. And I would have talked about how our military has become an unruly force. I would have mentioned the fact that in a number of situations, as Asawase, East Legon, Parliament, things have happened and the state has failed, refused or neglected to put a handle on it. I just wanted to make it short by saying that if our state system, security system, does not seem like it is under proper control and can take lives, very soon you will have people banding together against them.
All right.
I want to know where that will end.
Okay.
So, Bawku should be taken very seriously, and we should see the state taking a step to assure all of us that indeed we have a functioning state system. For now, it's doubtful.
And Ejura is more recent, fresh on our minds. I take a break here with a message from Frank. He says, Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, the President, swore an oath to protect citizens of Ghana. Under his watch, the military has killed Ghanaians with impunity. There has to be a full, independent public inquiry into this and the killings during the 2020 elections. This cannot be allowed to continue. Politicians across the political divide from the north need to come together in the interest of their people to broker sustainable peace, even if it means involving international negotiators. So be it. Let's value human lives for Christ's sake. We'll be right back.